Love doesn't fade overnight. It erodes quietly, like waves smoothing a rock over years. The moments that once felt electric begin to feel familiar, then ordinary, then heavy. The laughter that once filled the room becomes a silence you can't explain. And yet, most people keep searching for new faces, new beginnings, believing the next person will reignite that lost spark. But Jung would say, the spark doesn't die because of time. It dies because we refuse to face what love reveals about ourselves. Every deep connection begins as a projection. When we fall in love, we aren't really seeing another person. We're seeing an image our unconscious has painted on them. The traits we secretly crave, the wounds we've ignored, the light we've lost, all of it gets mirrored back through the person we desire. That's why love feels so intoxicating. It's not them, it's what they awaken in us. The danger is that when reality starts to replace the fantasy, we feel betrayed, as if they changed. But they didn't. Our illusion simply cracked. This is Jung's hidden law. Love begins as projection and ends when the illusion dissolves. The more we cling to the fantasy, the harder the fall. The very traits that drew us in, the charm, the mystery, the confidence, become the same things we later resent. Because unconsciously, we demand that person complete us, but no one can hold the burden of being your mirror forever. That's why affection turns cold. When the projection fades, we see the other not as salvation, but as a reminder of everything unresolved within us. And instead of learning from it, most people run. They call it falling out of love. But what's really happening is that they're falling out of their reflection. Every breakup, every distance that grows, is the psyche's way of pulling us toward individuation, toward wholeness. The soul doesn't want another partner to fill the void. It wants you to look at why that void exists. Jung wrote that what we call fate often comes from the parts of ourselves we refuse to face. So the partners we attract are not accidents, they're the teachers we didn't know we summoned. Think about it. The person who ignored you, abandoned you, or manipulated you. They might have done so consciously or unconsciously, but their role in your story was precise. They reflected your unmet need for validation, your suppressed fear of abandonment, your hidden belief that you are not enough. And once their role was fulfilled, the relationship began to crumble, not because it failed, but because its purpose was complete. That's the paradox of love. It both heals and breaks us. Each connection is a mirror and a lesson. The ones who hurt us the most are often the ones who awaken us the most. Jung called this the divine wound. The pain that seems unbearable is actually sacred, because it's the exact pain required for growth. The truth men avoid is that the collapse of affection is not a failure to keep love alive. It's the psyche's way of demanding transformation. Men are taught to fix, to control, to restore order when something falls apart. But love isn't a machine, it's a mirror maze. And until a man confronts what he sees in that mirror, his insecurities, his need for control, his fear of rejection, he'll keep losing the same woman over and over, just in different bodies. Women feel this too, but differently. They crave emotional depth, connection, recognition.
Yet they often project the ideal of emotional completion onto men who are emotionally starving themselves. Both sides seek wholeness through each other, and both end up empty when that illusion collapses. So why do relationships that once felt destined turn to resentment or indifference? Because affection isn't meant to stay constant, it's meant to evolve. From projection to awareness, from illusion to intimacy. Most people never make that transition. They chase a high of infatuation, mistaking emotional fireworks for connection. Real love, Jung said, begins only after the fantasy dies. If you've ever looked at someone and thought, "You're not the person I fell in love with," you were half right. They changed, and so did you. The real tragedy is that instead of growing together through the death of illusion, most people panic. They label it boredom, incompatibility, or falling out of love. They run, searching for that initial high again. And in doing so, they repeat the same unconscious cycle, projecting, idealizing, resenting, leaving. But what if you stayed through the discomfort? What if you used that moment, the silence, the coldness, the space, as a mirror? What if instead of asking, "Why did they stop loving me?" you asked, "What did their love expose in me?" That's where maturity begins. That's where real connection grows. Jung believed the soul uses love to force us into confrontation with our shadow, the parts we hide, deny, or repress. Every person we fall for reveals a fragment of that shadow. The ones we love deeply show us what we're capable of becoming. The ones who break us show us what we still fear to face. Love is never about finding your other half. It's about realizing you were never half to begin with. But we forget that. We beg our partners to heal us, to make us feel seen, to carry the pain we never processed. And when they can't, because no one can, we call them cold. We say love died, when in truth, it simply changed form. The longer you live, the more you see this pattern repeat. The meeting, the fire, the disillusionment, the collapse. It's not a curse, it's evolution. The collapse of love is not the death of connection. It's the invitation to grow beyond dependence. And that's what most people fear, that love without need isn't love at all. But the highest form of love is not born from lack. It's born from awareness. When you no longer need someone to complete you, you can finally see them clearly. You no longer project your wounds onto them. You love them not for what they fix in you, but for what they are. And that's where the illusion ends and truth begins.